do you guys have dark times? Do you have times where you get down, and how do you deal with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've had some pretty rough chapters. I don't know, probably clinical depression. For all I would know, I've never been diagnosed, but yeah, you go into those ruts. Being selfish, you put in all this effort and you want to see the goalpost move just a
Sure.
little bit. You know what
Sure.
I mean? And that's not the way that it works. You sow the seed. You nurture it, you water it, you do what you can do, but when it bears fruit, that's at a time that has absolutely nothing to do with me. It's not about the amount of effort I put into it, but I think the selfish side of you, when you're striving so hard and you're trying so hard and you want to see something move and it doesn't, it can be a pretty rough place to get into. And then, of course, we deal with all the same things that everybody else out there in the outside is dealing with, losing loved ones and family, and those can be some very, very dark times.
You have like more degrees, I think, than any person I've ever seen. Like what are some certain things that you can touch upon that you're like, I'm on the right path? That look from somebody that you were able to help. Like, what are some specific?
Well, for me, I first decided to try to do college because nobody in my family's ever done it, and the prisons were offering it. So I seen it as a benefit because in the streets I wouldn't have been able to afford it. And I always loved to read, especially about history, about political science. So now I could try to get a degree. So my goal was to try to do a class or two and even just pass the class. After that, those were short-term goals that build up my self-confidence, just built me up that I could do what I set out to do. Then I decided to see if I could get 3 or 4 degrees, and that led to the fifth one. And so each little small goal was a stepping stone to helping me change. With everything you learn, you slowly change no matter what. We age out of crime and we age out of ignorance too. And for me, those goals helped me with learning how I was raised and how the causative factors in my youth helped. First of all, take responsibility for what I did, but I started learning about causative factors and contributing factors that led me to be the person I was.
Well, what are those factors?
Some of the things is running in the streets, being easily influenced by people that said they loved me and they protected me. These were strangers in the streets at first. They would see a little 6-year-old, 7-year-old just kicking out there in the streets, just looking for whatever he could. At the beginning, it was food. They would feed me and make sure nobody would mess with me. And then later on, uh, teach me how to steal and told me if I wanted anything, I would have to take it. And it was just small warped beliefs that seemed to find root in my mind that continued to progress as I got older, that led me to the gang life, that led me to continue my depending on other people other than my actual family because they were never around. It led me to depend on other people more than my own family, even though it wasn't their fault. They were just trying to make a living. And it's just at the time I didn't have no tools to deal with the inadequacies that I had, or ask anybody for the help that could have maybe helped me even deal with some of the problems that I was dealing with. So
If you could, talk to that version of yourself now, and I guess in some ways you have opportunities to do that. What would you guys say to your younger selves?
that I love them, that you're loved, that your mom is doing everything she possibly can just to put a roof over your heads, that not to give in to the temptations because that's what it was. These false beliefs that she was sacrificing her time just so that we could have a roof over our heads and food in our table. Um, I was seeing it like it was an abandonment because she was always gone. If I could just tell him, hey, just stick it out, just stick it out. You would be okay. she loves you. That's the reason why she's working as much as she is. I didn't know that at the time. I thought she didn't love me because after my dad split or went to prison, I even tried to make excuses, but he never split. He continued selling drugs and he went to prison and got deported. Never decided to try to come back. I held on to this anger toward him for the longest because when I got older, when I got to 16 or 17, it was he made my life and my mom's life more harder. My mom had to send my older brother and older sister to go live with our padrinos because she couldn't take care of them and us at the same time. So for me, it was always an abandonment issues that uh, once they left, I didn't have them no more. So to me, it was constant losing somebody and not having them. So if I could tell them, hey, everything will be okay, just everything will work out, I would tell him that and that he's loved.
The same.
I would tell that younger me that that you're enough, like who you are, like not the version that you think everybody wants you to be. I had some pretty warped beliefs around. I became a father at age 17, right? My son was born when I was 17. And I believe that's one of he talked about causative factors, but a contributing factor that contributed to me actually making the decision to commit my crime was being a young father. And when you normalize crime within a community, I almost felt like it was an honorable thing to take from somebody else to provide for mine. And that young individual, that's where his head was at. So I would, first and foremost, I would tell him that, you are enough. The image that you're seeing in other people, like everything that glitters ain't gold. A lot of these people, they're projecting an image, but they're probably feeling the same way that you are. Yeah. That's why they, overinflating their ego. So I would tell them that you're enough. Everything that glitters isn't gold. I would tell them that, being a father is more about being present and setting a good example than ensuring that, your son has Jordans on his feet, right, or, a closet full of, diapers and whatever it is that you need. Those are the things that I would tell that younger individual.